Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skibowski of RE/MAX Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Here we are.
Here we are, and I'll tell you what, through this whole COVID-19 thing, I thought the housing market was going to, just tank.
We all did. I guess sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
I took the conservative course. Well, let's wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
But predictions, if unemployment would have been, high, or people loss of jobs, people not going back to work, I think it would have been terrible.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I was more scared that there would be issues, that prices would drop, that. And if that tanks and the auto industry tanks, then we've got real issues,
Yeah.
But surprisingly, the market is still pretty hot.
It really is. And again, it's in pockets. As we talked about a couple of weeks ago, with the statistics, through the end of May, the whole county is down as far as units go, number of house sales.
Yeah.
But Warsaw proper, that 46580, it's up. So the whole county is down.
Yeah.
Warsaw 46580 is flying.
It was up by 12%.
It was 12%.
So. Yeah.
12% increase year over year. That's amazing during this time. And again, there are still people working from home. There's still, a lot of folks that are laid off, but there was either pent up demand, or people got sick of being in a smaller house or realized, hey, we need to make a change. This isn't working for us anymore. But it did. There are a lot of analysts, as there always are, right? Mm-hmm. Predictions are what predictions are.
Yeah.
A lot of folks thought, as you mentioned, market's going to tank, prices are going to drop, people are going to have to sell. I'm going to take advantage of that. Well, I'm not seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
The market is not there. The market is still strong. Interest rates dropped significantly. I think that's impacted motivation for folks to get out and buy. There's a rash of refinances.
Yeah.
So closings are taking a little bit longer beyond the COVID changes that we've made in trying to close transactions. There's a lot of refis filling the system up. There's a lot of things going on, but the real estate market in general is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. I think the real estate market, companies actually did a really good job of adapting, to because I did a refi, my closing, it's we had an iPad and the lady walked us through it. We're looking at a screen and we're flipping pages and we're signing, and she was in the next room, so there was no contact. So I think the real estate companies and title companies and so forth did a really good job of adapting to COVID-19.
Yeah, I think there were significant changes, in our industry and all industries, right? Everybody adapted and adjusted. And it's a good thing. The economy kept moving, which, could you imagine if we had completely shut down? Now, essentially we did, but we didn't. A lot of people were working from home.
Yeah.
So the technology that we all whine and complain about all the time, right? You're connected all the time, gave us the opportunity to do what we did.
Yeah.
With the internet capabilities, just smartphones, every way that we can connect, electronic signings. The state of Indiana moved up. They were going to allow electronic signings starting in July. Well, they moved it up because of COVID. So they saw it coming, but they adapted. So even the government, surprisingly, moved quickly in this pandemic thing compared to what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and so like you said, interest rates dropped. That got people more enticed to to actually to move, or to make something happen, whether it's a refi or putting a house on the market. And so it's like the planets aligned, and it kept the market hot.
It did, and that's helpful for our industry. It's helpful for the economy in general, because housing, we were considered an essential, business. That is one of the single largest investments that most people will make is housing. So that interest rate drop improved affordability for a lot of people. When the interest rate moves, obviously your monthly payment, which a lot of people look at, what can I afford? How much is my monthly payment? That interest rate reduction definitely impacted the amount of home that they could purchase, making not only the affordability, but, hey, I like homes that are in the $150,000 price range, but I can only afford $140,000. Well, when the interest rate dropped, that enabled them to, afford a more expensive home than what they could have.
Yeah.
So, overall, The market is hot. We're seeing multiple offer situations still. We talked about it in 19. How do you handle this? How do you do it? I didn't believe, because I had not seen that. I mean, I started in real estate in 2005. I did not expect ever to see multiple offers like we did in 2019 and 2018. And it is continuing right along in 2020. Multiple offer situations happening more and more.
Okay. All right. We're going to talk more about those multiple offers coming up here next. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Welcome back to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skibowski of RE/MAX Lakes, and we're talking about the market is still hot in pockets that we talked about, but multiple offers, they are coming in.
Yeah, they are. And, many times, I want to give some advice to buyers when it comes to that. I give this to my own buyers. But when you're in a multiple offer situation, don't expect the seller is going to give you a counter offer back. So what's my advice? If a house is brand new on the market, I'm just using this example.
Okay.
It's brand new on the market and it's listed at $130,000 in Warsaw, Indiana.
Okay.
Guess what? There's going to be a lot of people interested in that property. And in all likelihood, there are going to be multiple offers. Now, again, there's a lot of underlying factors, but assume it's the nice shiny penny, it's in great shape, it's priced right, all of those things.
Okay.
Assume there is going to be multiple offers. So at that point, what I tell buyers is, it's been on the market one day. What makes you think the seller went to bed and woke up the next day, oh, my house is worth $10,000 less today than it was yesterday, because buyer A is going to write me an offer for $120,000.
Yeah, not going to happen.
It is not going to happen in all likelihood. So what I tell buyers is, hey, put yourself in the seller's position. We know we have a very marketable property. We know we priced it right. They did all of the things that they were supposed to do. If you're the buyer, be prepared to go in with your best offer first. Don't lose a property that you've been maybe searching for, or this is the one. Don't lose it over $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Now, I know that's a lot of money. $1,000 is $1,000.
It is, right.
It's a lot of money. I get that. But don't get so laser focused on what am I getting it at. You're going to have an appraisal done afterwards that will tell you if it supports the value or not.
Okay.
That's in the purchase agreement. But if you want any chance at purchasing this house, don't expect a counteroffer. Don't lose it over $500 or $1,000. That money for you generally is financed over 30 years. Right? At $5 a month or whatever that may be. Now, I sound like, I'm trying to sell you on the payment, but the fact is $1,000 to the seller is $1,000 today at closing. It's $1,000 less they get.
Right.
For a buyer, it's $5 per month over, and again, whatever the interest rate happens to be, but it's a fixed amount, a small amount monthly versus $1,000 up front.
Something you're not going to notice over the course of 30 years or 20 years or whatever your loan may be.
Correct. So don't get so fixated. And we get calls all the time. Well, what do you think they'll take? It's been on the market a day. And list price is probably a good place to start.
That's probably a good place to start.
Especially if you're a buyer that's asking for concessions. If you're asking the seller to pay your closing costs. If you're a USDA type buyer, you're already $3,500 or $4,000 to the negative for the seller because you're asking them to pay concessions on your behalf. So if it's listed at $130 and you need $4,000 in closing costs in order to purchase, you're really, if you offer $130, you're offering $126. So, what about the buyer that doesn't need closing costs? So, and I know a lot of times people say, well, it's agents that drive the prices up. Well, it's not agents that are driving the prices up. It's buyers that are looking at homes. They really want those homes that are offering higher, and that's driving the price up. My job is to educate the buyer, and if they want that house, then I'm going to give them the advice that I feel they need in order to purchase. Understand, the appraisal has got to happen. Our purchase agreements are written to where the property has to appraise at or above the agreed upon purchase price, period. If it doesn't, we renegotiate essentially. I mean, that's where it comes. So, while I really think this run up, and it's not a great time to be a buyer in a seller's market, it is not, because you're in competition. So how do you win the competition? I'm a competitive guy. I'm going to give the folks the advice that says this is how you're going to win that competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. You put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. Make your best offer, out of the gate. Don't overanalyze that purchase price, and don't wait. Don't wait, because if you're, I'm going to think on it. If I've heard that once, I've heard it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
This just hit the market Monday. Well, let's look at it on Saturday. Now, again, homes that are priced right in those pockets are probably not going to be available by Saturday. If it hits the market on Monday, and it's where there's a majority of the buyers, and in our county, that 150 to 200,000 price range is the sweet spot. Something comes on in that price range that's in good shape, priced right, all of those other things, there are going to be lots of lookers at that property.
Mm-hmm.
So in all likelihood, you need to be flexible and adjust your schedule to get in sooner.
Right.
Don't wait till Saturday if it hits the market on Monday.
Okay, so you said house is listed at 130,000,
Mm-hmm.
and so you want to put your best foot forward. Somebody comes in, they offer 140,000,
Mm-hmm.
but then later comes and you get the accepted offer. Okay, they
Yep.
accept your offer.
Sure.
Okay, so you have an agreement, but then yet it appraises at 125.
Sure. So the seller's got some decisions to make at that point. From a buyer's perspective, that allows us to back out of the contract because our bank isn't going to loan us on 140. They now are going to loan on the appraised value, which is 125.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that can happen are the buyer agrees to pay the difference between 125 out of pocket. The bank's only going to lend on 125.
Okay.
The seller reduces the purchase price to 125, which sellers are going to be hesitant to do that, but that's an option. The buyer and the seller agree something in between. Buyer pays some, seller pays some, or the contract's over, and we do a mutual release out of the contract to return the earnest money to the buyer due to the inability to get financing, if they're financing. Now, if it's a cash purchase,
And then
you did the appraisal and you didn't request an appraisal on the purchase agreement, and we have that option with a cash purchase. They can still ask for an appraisal. If you didn't ask for that option, you're buying it at 140 if it's cash, even if you had the appraisal done and it was not part of the contract. So there's more negotiation each time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes over and over. So, we in a multiple offer situation, put your best foot forward. Don't expect you're going to get a counter offer. And in many cases, you're probably going to have to write an offer over list price in order to purchase it. Not all, but in many cases, these homes with multiple offers are selling over list price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing on how hot of a market it is, and it has continued for such a long time.
Yeah,
because that pendulum does swing back and forth.
It'll swing eventually.
Right. All right. Very good. Hey, your contact information?
Sure. Websites lakes-realtors.com. Phone numbers 574-834-1233.
All right. Very good, Mark. Thank you very much. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.